Some players win games, but a rare few, they change the game itself. Not just with talent, but with so much dominance, the NBA had to change the rules just to keep up. George Mikan was so dominant in the paint, teams started stalling, so the league invented the shot clock. Bruce Bowen's sneaky footwork caused so many injuries, they had to protect shooters with the landing space rule. Kobe Bryant survived the hand-checking era, then dropped 81 when it got banned. These aren't just legends, they changed the game. They broke the rules, then set new ones. When greatness goes too far, the game doesn't just watch, it follows. If you're into stories like this, don't forget to subscribe. George Mikan. Back in the early days of the NBA, one guy completely broke the game. His name? George Mikan. He stood 6 feet 10 inches, which might not seem crazy now, but in the 1950s, that was freakishly tall. And Mikan didn't just have size, he had skill, touch, and footwork. Nobody could stop him. So what did teams do? They stopped playing, just held the ball. They'd dribble for minutes straight, avoiding shots just to keep Mikan off the floor. This hit its peak in 1950 when Mikan's Lakers played the Fort Wayne Pistons. The Pistons didn't even try to score. They ran the clock, passed in circles, and ended up winning 19-18. That wasn't a quarter, that was the full game. The NBA realized that wasn't basketball, it was hide and seek. In 1954, the league introduced the 24-second shot clock to encourage teams to execute plays and take shots. That one rule changed the entire sport. Suddenly, the game became faster, more exciting, and watchable. It pushed basketball into a new era, where skill and pace mattered. George Mikan didn't just change how teams played, he forced the league to invent a brand new rule just to stop him. That's the kind of impact that lives forever. Bruce Bowen. Bruce Bowen was the kind of defender who made scorers second-guess every jump shot, not because of what he did in the air, but because of what happened when they came back down. Bowen had a reputation: contest the shot, then subtly slide his foot under the shooter's landing spot. It didn't look dirty on replay, but it was dangerous. After he caused a nasty ankle sprain to Steve Francis and nearly did the same to Jamal Crawford, the league had had enough.
The league is looking at Bowen. Perhaps is he sticking out that leg in the area where the shooter will come down, thus maybe not to injure the player, but at least to have him night. Bowen guarding Jamal Crawford once again in kind of a scissor move. He sticks that foot out in the area where Crawford's going to come down, and Isaiah Thomas is like, I don't like that.
The NBA made it a rule. Defenders must give shooters a safe place to land. A simple idea, but one that saved a lot of careers. And here's the wild part. Spurs coach Greg Popovich defended Bowen like a proud dad. The people who cry about it are just frustrated about having to go against Bruce, he said. I told Bruce, you be Bruce Bowen. You're the best defender in this league. You will not change the way you play defense. That came full circle years later when Zaza Pachulia pulled the same move on Kawhi Leonard.
Leonard fires from the corner. Leonard goes down again, and he's in pain again in front of the Spurs bench.
Ending the Spurs' title hopes in a single play. It was karma in action. Bowen's tactics pushed the NBA to create the landing space rule, because when one guy consistently plays that close to the line, the league eventually redraws it. He didn't just defend players, he redefined what safe defense even means. Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant didn't just torch defenders, he reshaped the entire way defense was allowed to function in the NBA. If you want proof, go back and watch the 2004 NBA Finals. The Pistons weren't loaded with superstar scorers, but man, could they defend. Every time Kobe moved, someone bumped him, grabbed him, or rode him off his line. That was legal back then. It was called hand-checking, a subtle form of bullying your way into defense. But here's what changed everything. Kobe still had the edge. Even with constant contact, he'd beat his man. The problem was that tiny bump would slow him down just enough to give someone like Ben Wallace time to rotate and block the shot. It wasn't illegal, it was just smart defense. After the finals, the league had a meeting. What counts as a real advantage? Should physical defense like that be allowed if the offensive player still has the edge? The result? The NBA banned all hand-checking before the 2005 season. It was meant to help balance the game, but in reality, it unleashed offensive players. Perimeter defense became a nightmare. And what happened next? Kobe went nuclear. Just 1 year later, he dropped 81 points in a single game. No hand-checking, no bumps, just buckets. That finals loss may have stung, but it helped write a rule that made scoring explosions like Kobe's possible and changed NBA defense forever. Charles Barkley. Imagine you're guarding a tank disguised as a forward. That's what it felt like trying to stop Charles Barkley. He wasn't just strong, he was relentless. Barkley would catch the ball on the wing, take a dribble, bump you once, twice, 3 times, and keep going until he had you right under the rim. And back then, that was perfectly legal. but it got to a point where games would crawl because Chuck would take his sweet time backing defenders down. He'd kill the clock, just muscling his way into position. Coaches hated it. Refs were stuck watching a slow-motion wrestling match. And fans, they got restless. So the NBA stepped in. Enter the Barkley rule. Officially, it limits players to 5 seconds of backing down in the post if they're dribbling below the free throw line. But really, it was made for one guy, Charles Barkley. Or if you're from New York, you might say it's the Mark Jackson rule, since he did it too. Either way, the league wasn't having it anymore. This rule forced big men to move faster and added a shot clock-like urgency to post play. Not many players can say they played so hard. The rulebook had to change just to keep up. LeBron James. LeBron's return to Cleveland in 2010 wasn't just a basketball game. It was a full-on grudge match. After the decision, Cavs fans were furious.
Glad we're here because I want to see it in person. You know, and Ernie, I will be honest. I've been in 2 NBA finals, and I've not seen the electricity in a regular season game ever in my life.
They weren't just booing, they were planting signs, t-shirts, and chants so brutal that the NBA had to get involved. The league caught wind of what was brewing. We're talking shirts with profanity, posters with threats, even full-on traitor banners. So the NBA clamped down, warning security at Quicken Loans Arena to confiscate anything over the line. They didn't just want to protect LeBron, they wanted to stop the night from turning into a PR disaster. And here's the deal, LeBron didn't flinch. He walked in, dropped 38 points, and led Miami to a 28-point blowout win. The Cavs fans were silenced, not by the rules, but by the scoreboard. It was a clear message. Say what you want, but greatness speaks louder. This moment was bigger than basketball. The NBA realized it had to put real boundaries around what fans could say or wear, especially when things got personal. They updated policies on fan conduct, arena signs, and even merchandise approvals. All because one man changed teams and shook the entire league. LeBron didn't just make headlines. He made the NBA rethink what was acceptable in the stands. And whether you loved him or hated him, you had to respect the impact. These players didn't just dominate, they changed the game. George Mikan was so unstoppable that teams stalled possessions, leading to the creation of the shot clock. Bruce Bowen's dangerous closeouts forced the NBA to introduce the landing space rule. Kobe Bryant thrived through relentless handchecking, sparking a league-wide ban on the tactic. Charles Barkley's slow, bruising post-ups frustrated fans so much that the 5-second back-down rule was born. And LeBron James? His presence was so commanding, the league cracked down on hostile fans to better protect its stars. These weren't boardroom decisions. They were direct responses to greatness. These legends didn't just play by the rules, they inspired new ones. If you like this, look at how iconic players reshaped the NBA rulebook. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's next. Got a favorite rule change or a player you think deserves the credit? Drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and remember, basketball history is still being written.